ladies and gentlemen, China is finally tightening their infringement laws, which is starting to ease the tariff wars. On top of that, we got MJ news going on, where finally the government is listening to the people. And on top of that, guys, I sold Tesla. Why did I do that? Well, let's find out. We're going to head over to the computer, analyze all this news, and look at my six-figure dividend stock portfolio. So let's jump right into this. Welcome back, my passive income investors alike. Before we head over to the portfolio and I show you why I sold Tesla, and I also sold BTI, a little bit of clickbait we'll take a look at in a sec. But more importantly, the news, guys. China. What is going on with China? Well, China to raise penalties on IP theft in this trade war compromise. It looks like we're finally seeing some progression in this trade war that's been helping keep the markets up. And maybe we want to take a quick listen here. Let me scroll back a little ways and you can kind of hear some of the news going on and just listen in.
What is punishable in terms of intellectual property theft. The other part of it is making it easier for victims of intellectual property theft to pursue claims of compensation. And more broadly, what we're hearing from Chinese officials is that they want by 2020 to significantly reduce the numbers and the instances of intellectual property theft. So that is the guide.
So that is what we wanted to hear when it came to this tariff war, because the tariff war started by the endless amount of billions of dollars of ripped off products that keep getting sold to us by the country that's actually ripping us off. So it's nice to see that the Chinese government actually wants to try and find some kind of common ground with the US, which is absolutely wonderful. But I think this has pushed the markets to an area where they're stretched so far to the upside that we're not seeing that much more in capital growth on the basic and broader indexes. Now, moving into the sector, a lot of people have been really interested in. That is the MJ sector. I'm going to be really careful how I say this because every time I talk about this, YouTube likes to ding me. So I'm going to keep calling it MJ anytime we see words that might get me in trouble. So Ontario Mools overhauling MJ shop system in 2020 as sales lag. So we all know the deflating bubble that is the MJ market. And the government has finally said, look, we get what's going on. We've listened to the people and we're going to issue out another 750 to 1,000 licenses to the brick and mortar stores all across Ontario to start helping compete with the black market. They've also started to lower prices, and this is the best news we've heard in a while. And as this came out a couple days ago, as we saw the MJ stocks kind of really jump up, but that news didn't really hold off for too long as they've continued from the downside. If we take a look at my actual StockTwits watch list here, we can scroll down to the part of this where I kind of pay attention to the MJ stocks, and we can see all the biggest company names are even down today after having a little bit of a pop from all that news, although for some reason in after hours we're not getting any charting here, but we can see the basic and broader index that has to do with the MJ market is still down overall. But I think this is great news because in the next 2 to 5 years we're going to start seeing which companies are actually dominating in which product categories. So keep an eye out for that, which is going to be super fascinating. Now, moving into my dividend stock portfolio, guys. If we scroll back before I head in there to the StockTwits, my watch list at the very top, we can see, yes, the basic index is up a little bit, one of the indexes that I hold here, but overall, most of my stocks have been in the red today, bringing my stock portfolio pretty much flat to right around a $126,000 total. And as I said, for some clickbait today, guys, I sold Tesla and British American Tobacco for these reasons. If we head on over into my managed account, as many of you know, I am managing 3 or 4 multiple accounts right now between my tax-free savings account. I have an RRSP account, I have a Royal Bank account, and I have a managed account. So between the managed and the RBC account, I have to pay taxes, guys. So what I've gone ahead here and do, and I know I said I was going to keep Tesla in here, but to maximize my tax savings this year, what I've gone ahead and did, guys, was I sold off my holdings in BTI and Tesla today for a very short period of time. Now, the reason I'm doing this is it's going to save me so much money in taxes, it's not even going to be funny. So what I've gone here and ahead and did is kind of show you a tax calculator of my income. So just to project about how crappy my income is this year, I liquidated about $20,000 worth of precious metals. And currently I'm going to be making somewhere probably between $25,000 and $30,000 a year in working income of self-employed, which would leave me with a total taxable amount of roughly $600 or closer to $8,700. Now, the problem with this is it doesn't include write-offs, but just to keep things as simple as a clean-cut example, when I contribute this $11,400 to my RRSP here, guys, which is a registered retirement savings plan, I'm going to defer all of this tax income to a later date. I've currently already added about, where does it say? Right at the bottom here, 8,838. So if we add $11,000 to that, guys, we're going to be getting pretty close to that 20K mark. So if we go back into my tax calculator and we put an RSP deduction of $20,000, mind you, my room limit's around $32,000, all of a sudden my total tax deductibles are going to drop to $4,472. So keep that in mind. I'm going to be saving about $4,000. But if we include my write-offs, which were pretty substantial this year, guys, I'm going to end up knocking this down to probably only owing about $1,000 to $2,000 because I've had about $15,000 to $16,000 in write-offs. I usually put about $1,000 away a month. This year's been a little bit more choppy than that, but let's presume I ended up having, you know, $16,000 in write-offs, and let's say I'm claiming $10,000 this year. Well, there you go. My entire total tax is going to be roughly $663. Though that's a little bit speculative as of today until I fully go through all of this. But yeah, that was one of the big things I did today, guys, because there's been incredible news coming out over the overall market, but I think things are so overextended at this point that the stocks just can't make any serious movements. So, because if we take a look over the last month here, guys, like BTI is up a huge amount, like it's up 10 or 11%. Tesla, as we all know, over the last month has been on a tear lately, pushing up to like 15%. 6 month has been wild as well. So I think we're pretty extended at this point, and this is the best time, in my opinion, to start moving money around, because if I do this at any other time, I might take on the risk of having to overpay for these shares. So say Tesla jumps up from good news tomorrow and it's up another $100. Well, I'm going to be paying over an extra $100 for those shares. So I like doing it when I feel that the market might be more geared toward headed to the downside. I don't recommend trying to do this at all. It's very speculative. It's very risky. And that's why I went ahead and I bought some BTI in my RBC account. Because I'm going to be taking my BTI shares and kind of dispersing them a little bit more, I'm actually going to be buying a little bit more VFE, a little bit more J&J, and I might even buy a little more Tesla, and then I'll take the leftover and just refill the BTI position within my RSP. But while I wait, I still want as much exposure as possible, so I still managed to buy a little bit of in this account that I won't be putting into an RSP. So in light of that, guys, I would love to know what you think about these positions and what I'm doing here, because it's going to be neat to see if I am going to get a discount. Do you think I'll get a discount on BTI? Do you think this thing could drop another buck and I might be able to buy a few extra shares back at a cheaper price? I'd love to see that happen to Tesla. If Tesla could just drop, you know, another $30 to $50 over the next 2 days while these fill. And you're probably also asking yourself, well, why don't I just do it now? Well, I can't. And I can't do it because this money takes about 2 to 3 business days to finalize. And once it finalizes and the trades fully become settled into the settlement data or date cash, I'm sorry, I'm mispronouncing that. But once these trades settle, I'll be able to transfer it over. I'll save all of that tax money. And then I'm going to leave MO in here. I'm going to leave this full amount because this is what I'm going to use to pay those taxes at the end of the year. And then I'm going to take the $6,000 that hopefully I'll have left over. So I'm trying to leave a bit of leeway room because I want to contribute to my tax-free savings account. And this is where I'd make money completely tax-free. So I'd rather keep this account as maxed out as humanly possible. And I should be crossing over $100,000 in this account by the beginning of January. So like I said, I'm going to be doing huge tax deductions. Hope you guys are learning lots from this. It's just a bit of an overview today, guys. So stay cool, stay awesome. I look forward to chatting to you real soon.